Alright guys, so for the main event we have Belal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. Belal Muhammad is going to be a very tough test for JDM. He brings relentless pressure, has a great gas tank, and obviously very strong grappling. He's gone 5 rounds multiple times and thrives in high output fights. His wrestling will be the biggest factor here, but he does leave himself open to counter shots. His past opponents though haven't capitalized. Look at the Leon Edwards fight. Leon had Belal hurt in round 5. He knew he was down on the scorecards. And he didn't go for the kill. He didn't go for the finish. Leon Edwards has very low output. It's like he's more focused on looking clean and looking pretty than getting the win. If he'd just thrown a few more elbows in round 5, he could have knocked out Belal Muhammad. But that's not who JDM is. But to Belal's credit, he does have a very solid win over Sean Brady. And that TKO was the most aggressive version of Belal that we've ever seen. When he lets his hands go, he can overwhelm his opponents because he is making them think about the takedown threat, which then opens up the hands, and we see in the Sean Brady fight, he did end up getting a TKO. Now JDM is coming into this fight after a year off due to a broken arm. That arm injury happened in round 1 of the Gilbert Burns fight, and he still fought through, landed the cleaner shots, and in round 3 scored a knockout. This time though, he's healthy. Originally, Belal was scheduled to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov, but after Shavkat pulled out, JDM stepped in. And yes, he has a full camp. Jack doesn't wait for moments, he creates them. He has some of the cleanest boxing, if not the cleanest boxing in MMA. His bodywork is brutal, his composure under fire is just next level. And when he smells blood, he goes for the finish. Let's be clear, JDM's scrambling against Burns was severely underrated. Fans dismiss the lay and pray style when it comes from a person from Russia or from Dagestan, but applaud Burns for holding top position and not aiming for ground and pound or submission attempts. And that's how we score effective grappling. Jack stayed calm, got up, landed the better shots, and as I said before, round 3 he landed the knee, clean knockout. Belal's style is built for winning rounds, but Jack's style is built for stopping fights. And if JDM can get up from a few takedowns, which I believe he will, he'll start pouring it on. And that's when that pressure flips. Belal may not be able to keep up with that kind of pressure. That said, Belal doesn't have a strong finishing threat, but he's not to be underestimated on the feet. He's awkward, unorthodox, can catch you sleeping if you get lazy in a transition. At the same time, Belal would be a fool to underestimate JDM's grappling. Jack's scrambling is legit, and once he's back on the feet, you're back into his world. Jack's been locking in his grappling and training with Craig Jones and the boys over at Freestyle MMA. We've seen when Craig Jones improved Volkanovski's grappling before the first Islam Makhachev fight, and how close Volk made that fight. Jack's progression is a part of that wave. What I believe will happen is we see JDM take the belt home via round 4 TKO. And now guys, moving on to the co-main event, we have Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot. There is a massive skill gap in my belief. Manon Fiorot is a slick French kickboxer coming off a decision win last year to Erin Blanchfield. She showed great takedown defense, stayed calm and landed clean shots. But let's be honest, Valentina is not Blanchfield. Valentina avenged the robbery draw with Alexa Grasso by leaning into her grappling. That was the big difference. She took Grasso down and controlled her, flipping the script from their first fight. And I don't think Manon stops those kinds of takedowns. Valentina Shevchenko is too smart, too well-rounded. She'll shrug just enough to mask the takedowns and level changes and get it to the ground if needed. Comparing Shevchenko to anyone that Manon's fought, this is disrespect. She's just a completely different level of fighter. Manon's best chance? Stick and move. Deny the clinch, keep it standing, but over 5 rounds, I'm backing Valentina Shevchenko. I predict the decision, but I would not be surprised if Valentina can get the finish. Alright guys, before the co-main event, we have José Aldo versus Aiemann Zahabi. And yeah, this one is a little messy. It was supposed to be a bantamweight, but Aldo was having issues making that 135-pound weight limit, when Zahabi was just 0.8 pounds off the 135-pound limit. The UFC calls Zahabi and says that the fight is going to be at 145. Aldo's a legend, no doubt, but missing weight, no matter what the circumstance is just unprofessional in my opinion. It gives the UFC an excuse to keep giving him low-tier opponent instead of top 8 guys we thought he'd be fighting. Let's be real, no one wants to see another Aldo vs Mario Batista fight getting stalled by the fence with 0 damage. This is the fight where Aldo can prove to the UFC that he deserves top 8 fighters in the 135-pound division. But when I look at Zahabi, he's just slow. He fights like he's at welterweight. Predictable strikes, telegraphed takedowns, and now at featherweight he's going to look even slower. If Aldo stays sharp, uses his jab, and stuffs takedowns, I see him putting a clinic on Zahabi. If he stuffs the takedowns, he can put a clinic like how he did against Jonathan Martinez. Crisp striking, great balance, and great cage control. That said, Zahabi can win if Aldo fades late or gets lazy with his footwork like how we've seen him in the past. If he can time up against the fence and rack up on control time like Batista did, he could get a split decision or a very close decision, but it is a long shot. Aldo still has the speed, the timing, and the fight IQ. He's focused. He can make this look very easy. I predict Jose Aldo by a very dominant decision. Before that, guys, we have Alexa Grasso versus Natália Silva. And guess what? I'm actually picking the upset on this one. Grasso's coming off 2 tough-fought fights with Valentina Shevchenko. The first fight with her, she got the submission win. The second, which was the rematch, was a very, very controversial draw where Valentina should have won. And the third fight is where Valentina Shevchenko took her down multiple times with ease. But enter Natália Silva. She's undefeated in the UFC since debuting in 2022, and honestly, she is a problem. Fast hands, flashy kicks, sharp movement, and she does not freeze. She's one of the few flyweights who can match Grasso in speed and even variety in her strikes. If Silva keeps the fight at range, mixes her kicks in, and avoids boxing exchanges in the pocket, she can chip away at Grasso and win rounds. And if she times a few level changes or catches Grasso off balance, it gets real interesting. Grasso is tough, experienced, and has very clean fundamentals, but I think Silva's unpredictability and her speed is going to win her the first 2 rounds, and her footwork will keep her away from danger. I see Natália Silva winning this by 29-28 decision. And now guys, for the opener of the main event, we have Benoît Saint-Denis versus Prepolec. This is a mismatch. This fight was meant to be BSD versus Joel Alvarez, a real final lightweight test before Alvarez was going to move up to the welterweight division. Joel is basically he's too big for 155 and he's pulled out with a hand injury. So what did the UFC do? They gave us Prepolec, a guy who went 0-2 in the UFC, got cut, and hasn't been seen at this level since. His only qualification? Well, he's Canadian, speaks French, and he was available at the time. Prepolec lost to Nordine Taleb and Austin Hubbard and didn't look dangerous in either fight. He's slow, predictable, and now walking in on short notice against one of the most violent and relentless pressure fighters in the lightweight division. This is how Benoît Saint-Denis has earned the God of War name. BSD has been running through killers and finished Thiago Moises in a Paris crowd, checked out Ismael Bonfim, who people were hyping up as the future contender of the division. He's violent, durable, and thrives in chaos. And yeah, his striking isn't perfect. Renato Moicano definitely exposed some holes, and he nearly 10-7'd him. But guess what? Prepolec isn't Moicano, nowhere close. BSD is walking him down, dragging him into deep waters, and drowning him. Benoît Saint-Denis has clean knockouts over Matt Frivola. He can knock people out with kicks, punches. He's really great with his wrestling and his grappling, a much more well-rounded fighter, and I see Benoît Saint-Denis getting the finish. And guys, that's my wrap-up of the main card. Please let me know in the comments if you like this new video style that I'm trying to do. Let me know what your guys' picks are in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.